Hello there and welcome. My name is Chris, aka RubblePack92, and you are watching This is the Waypoint, the one and only Star Wars discussion show right here on the Shared Screens Podcast Network. This is it, boys. We did it. We got to the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course, we're going to be talking and discussing and, in my case, gushing about all the things we liked. Maybe we'll touch on the stuff we didn't like. Who knows? We'll get there. But as always, we have a fantastic panel running the show behind the scenes. As always, is our boy Alec Bobko.
Hello there.
Chilling in the Junlin Waste with somebody that looks really, really familiar is Brett Jamerson.
Yo, yo.
Yo. And finally, coming from the nether realms of space, as always, is one some other Josh.
Hello there. One last time. It hurts.
One last time. One last
more
time. Gonna celebrate. All right, so if y'all have been watching this show, you kind of know the deal, how we run things around here. We give our general impressions. We talk on some finer points. This one, I think, too, being the finale, we're probably gonna give like a few impressions of the show overall towards the end of this episode, and be sure to come back next week as well. Because we're going to get a bunch of our friends in here. We're going to do a big roundtable discussion on the entirety of the show. So don't expect too much introspection on all 6 episodes. We're kind of focusing on the last one, but we'll do it a little bit here. I think that's a given. On top of that, also, I kind of shadow dropped this on the store, but if you like our Obi-Wan themed This is the Waypoint logo, I slapped that on a t-shirt. It's up there on the store. Go grab that. And
Do it.
yeah. Get your Obi-Wan and get your Kenobi on, baby. This is where the fun begins. All right, so I know that's an Anakin line. Shut up. Let's talk about part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's see. I usually go, in my eyes, I go this way. We're gonna go this way. I don't know if the layout is mimicking Discord or not. But Josh, give me your general thoughts, impressions, and feelings on part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I was a little hesitant going into this, given like last 2 episodes, and like the last one basically being like hold the position, for half an hour. I don't want to say filler because like filler's not the word, but like they were non-consequential, and so like just the fact that like we weren't done with the mission, I was like hesitant going in. But goddamn, they stuck this landing and they stuck it so hard, and they hit it in a way that was just so like meaningful and emotional and just like overall impactful. And it also, this episode taught me patience is a virtue, because there were a lot of like setups and I'm like, all right, take the shot, slam dunk, like let's bring this home. And they didn't do it, and then they did it at the end, and goddamn, not a dry eye in this place, dude. I was crying in the club 1 a.m.
Yo, this would have had me tearing up like no other episode, man. I was feeling it, bro.
Yeah, but overall, fantastic finale.
Absolutely, man. All right, Brett, how do you feel about part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
So when I watched it last night when it dropped, I wasn't like over the moon about it, but then I watched it again today and I loved it way more. I think this episode again had a lot of different thematic connections to different Star Wars movies and stories just across the saga. I thought the Vader and Obi-Wan fight was awesome. The Tatooine part didn't work for me as well as I wish it did. But I think at the end it kind of brought a little bit back. I just loved the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader relationship, especially going on within that fight. But yeah, a couple of nitpicks, but overall I really liked it, and I think with the way it ended, I really want a season 2. I wasn't sure how I would feel about that, and I know like Disney and stuff, they were like hinting at it and kind of teasing it, but I really think we should get one. I want one just with the way the story ended on this episode. Yeah. But yeah, I really liked it.
Cool, man. All right, well, here we are at the very end, Alec. How'd you feel about the last episode of Obi-Wan?
I really enjoyed it. It started off strong, obviously. Between the Roken, and the not confrontation, but like the dialogue with him.
That's a Roken, by the way. Give us a Black Series of Roken.
Yeah,
sir.
I need one.
But like, that line of like, "Oh, I'm just getting started." Like, come on, you know they're gonna make a show with him as like one of the main leads. Like,
Genuinely hope they do. I think O'Shea Jackson did really, really well. Give him a comic or something at least, man.
right.
Literally.
But it's for me at least, it kind of dipped a little bit in the middle of the episode. Just kind of just felt like they're just tying up loose ends, just kind of kept doing that over and over.
Sure.
But man, that ending, like, there's a few scenes at the end that it got me back. It won me back. So I really enjoyed this episode.
Heck yeah, man. And I think I'm pretty much right along with all three of you, right? I really, really enjoyed this. I think for me personally, I my favorite part of the episode is got to be the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan. I mean, that was obviously like the big emotional payoff that everyone was waiting for. And I think just on kind of all levels, they made it work for me. I loved the dialogue that they had between each other. I loved the choreography of the fight, which was something that we talked about here on the show at the start, which was how did we think the lightsaber duels were going to work, and it felt like a cool blend of what we get from the more like grounded stuff that we see in the original trilogy and sequels, with a lot of the spinny higher action that we get from the prequels as well. It was a nice blending of that I felt worked really, really well, and the choreography there is something we'll talk about here in a bit. I also like the location of the duel. Again, we'll talk about it later. It was a cool area, you know. I like the mountains and stuff. I thought it looked neat. Of course, it's hard not to love little Leia. I think, you know, she killed it as always, and was shocked at how much she sounded like Anakin on the "Will I ever see you again?" line. I thought they used like a voice clip of Anakin from Phantom Menace. It was that good. And I mean, yeah, just the emotional payoff overall, both between Obi-Wan and Vader, I thought was really, really great. And with Reva at the end too, like her sort of like breakdown and being like, I've become the thing I didn't want to. And he said, no, like you still have the choice not to. I think that's kind of like the overall the thematic theme of this, right? Is the idea that it's like, hey, we don't have to be this, like we still have the choice to be better and do better and do these things. And I love that he's giving her that lesson, like essentially right after he remembered it, you know, throughout the series, right? They finally got him to the point where he needed to be. And yeah, man, I really liked it. I think there are some things that carry across all of the saga from the prequels to the originals all the way out to the sequels. And so I was really happy with where it is. And I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi was my favorite character as a kid. And so it's cool to see you and playing him again and doing all these cool things and being that character that I loved so much. So yeah, I thought it was great. Plus, he said hello there.
They did
10
it.
out of 10. 10 out of 10.
It sounded exactly like the line in episode 3. That was incredible.
It was really good. It was really fucking awesome. I loved it. I also love, again, shout out. Let's you know, kind of move into some of the more finer discussion of parts. I did want to shout out, and this is something I sent to Josh earlier. There's an old Sideshow Collectibles figure back from the mid 2000s. I want to say like 08, 09,
Yeah.
like a little after Revenge of the Sith was already out. There's a comic series and a novel about Obi-Wan at this point in time, actually, that follows different chain of events. It's old legends now, but Sideshow Collectibles did a statue based off of that comic, and they recreated the outfit that Obi-Wan wears in that comic in that statue, with the goggles, the sleeveless cape,
that's
and
cool.
then the gloves and everything. It's like to a T. I think the only thing that's different is his backpack.
Yeah, he's missing the blaster and the gaffy stick, but other than
Yeah.
that, it's
Which
spot
I'm
on.
glad they didn't do, because that's kind of Boba's thing now.
Yeah,
He doesn't have the rifle and the gaffy stick, but I mean, yeah, it's the costume, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude, you didn't have to do that, man. Like that's cool that you did, you know.
No,
And-
they did it because they know we're gonna buy another goddamn black series.
I'm absolutely gonna do it. I'm 100. I've already got 2 of them pre-ordered. Okay, I got the blue shirt. I got the brown one. If
There's
they
gonna be
do
the gray
that
robes.
one, I'm gonna get that one. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm all
They know
of them.
exactly what they were doing, dude.
Get all of them.
So I do have one question. Is Reva's lightsaber just sitting on Tatooine right in front of the Lars' house?
I assume she picks it up after she's done kneeling.
Gotta go away, right? Like,
I don't know. In my head canon, they do like the force push, like Rey. It just deep down into the sand.
That's what I assumed, but
and it's
they
just
didn't.
buried in the dunes.
Yeah, they didn't show it, so it could just, for all we know, just be sitting there, and then
Just
the sand
chilling
just
out there.
blows over it.
After that scene, I had the
yeah.
wonderful mental image of General Grievous just walking around Tatooine with a metal detector, right? Because there's like 80 lightsabers out there.
yeah. That's how I felt last week when they showed like 8 sabers in that like
In
the
that
path
box,
they-
yeah, just General
yeah.
Grievous start drooling.
Yeah, literally.
I love that continued joke of Grievous just wanting to collect more lightsabers.
Mhm.
But somebody did an excellent edit once from Rise of Skywalker when Kylo throws his lightsaber, and you have Grievous running off the edge of the Death Star and jumping after it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just go geek, 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 out on the Dune Sea. I did like though, like seeing her lightsaber and some of the others of the Inquisitors. I didn't realize that
Mhm.
though they're all the same like idea, the 2 blades with the spinning, that the hilts are different, which is really, really cool.
Mhm.
I like seeing that. And I know that we're getting an Inquisitor lightsaber like Black Series one. Do we know if it's Reva's specifically or whose saber is it?
It's Revis specifically. But again, don't buy it until
It actually spins.
perfect the spinning. Yep.
So that way you can fly off like a
100%. Until that's the case, don't buy it. Sorry, Hasbro.
Yeah, no, I needed to. I think that drops my overall score of this show just a little bit, as nobody flew around with their lightsaber like in Star Wars Rebels. So sorry, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But speaking of Rebels and parallels, let's talk about the big thing of this episode, right? Which is the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and how fucking rad it is. I know in a lot of interviews, Ian McGregor and Hayden Christensen talked about how well-versed Deborah Chow, the director of the show, was in a lot of the expanded universe stuff. How she would have them say certain dialogues or do certain things or even like actions in fights because the way it's represented in other media, whether they be comics or animated shows or whatever. And we see a lot of that influence come into this fight just in the way that it's choreographed. After we watched this fight, after I watched the episode, I immediately pulled up two more videos because I was like, I want to see something, right? Like I want to make sure. And so obviously the helmet bit straight out of Rebels and Vader's duel with Ahsoka, and I love that they do the same thing where you can see Anakin underneath it. They blend the voices and it's really fucking cool. Except obviously this time it's Hayden Christensen and not Matt Lanner, and that whole bit's great. And I want to talk about that in a few minutes.
James Earl Jones,
but the way that it's choreographed, though, there were a couple moves where I was like, I've seen it before, and I was having a hard time figuring out where. And obviously, we get the Kenobi stance, which was that was so cool. So right, hey, I saw that, and I thought of his interview on that talk show. I was like, that's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was like, there he is. In the middle of that fight too, there's a point where you see Vader with 2 hands on his saber come out to the side. I was like, he did the Anakin pose. I was like, it's the Anakin pose. Fuck yeah. So I was freaking out about that a little bit. But there's a point where they're back to back to each other and they're swinging to the side and eventually like Vader like whips around and comes with it. And I looked at that moment and I went, I think we saw that in the last episode. And I went and pulled up the training fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And the same moves are used there in addition to like the mirroring of their duel from Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, that's detail on a level that only nerds like us would pick up, but that's incredible, man.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that? Fuck.
Yeah, lots of cool choreographs. Lots of like low blows tossed out throughout the fight. Like when Vader just force uses throws a rock for his legs. I'm like, damn, that like you petty bitch. Like you going for some low blows, and then puts his hand to the ground, blows out the like ground underneath him. I'm like, this is straight up just some Force Unleashed shit. And then it went like full blown anime.
I liked that he put a hole in the ground to drop Obi-Wan underneath so he would have the high ground.
Well, and then I was expecting corny ass Rogue One Vader to return and be like, "Who has the high ground now?" and like him to make the joke, but he didn't. So thank God. And then there's that straight up anime moment
Spider-Man
where
buries him.
Yeah, and I thought that's when Qui-Gon Jinn was gonna come out talking about like those setups, and I'm like, all right, this is the moment. Like Liam Neeson, you got that bag, right? Like you're gonna have some dialogue. Like, come on, we're gonna Spider-Man like lift our way out of this.
Come on,
Didn't show
Spider-Man.
up. Yeah, and then goddamn, they hit me with it later in the episode, and I'd like teared up. Oh my god!
Can we talk about first how cool that shot was when as it like goes through the rocks to then see that Ben's been holding it back with the Force that whole time? I was like, oh shit, that's really cool.
It's
Now,
not.
Go ahead.
It made me think of Chris in Jedi Academy when Kyle and Jaden are trapped under the rubble, and one's holding up the Force, and the other one's caught in the hole. That wasn't a reference, but it just made me think about that. So that was pretty cool.
It is cool. Yeah, I like that. I'll you know what? I'll take it as we'll call it a reference.
Let's go.
we'll call it we'll call it a Jedi Academy reference. Absolutely. And I like you mentioned him. Yeah, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I do like you mentioned though, like with the rocks and like throwing them and stuff. How we've seen obviously Vader throughout this series be really like Force dependent. Like he's been grabbing ships and tearing them open and throwing Reva around and pushing her back and stuff. And but
whole fight without his lightsaber, just using the Force. How cool is that?
Reva's so beneath him that he was like, I'm not even gonna pull out my saber. You don't deserve it. But I always felt like if he's got to be doing shit like that, and he does that a lot, especially in like this expanded universe stuff too. Like you think of Fallen Order when he shows up and he's tearing up like the whole room as Cal's running away, right? I was like, it's weird that you don't see that sort of thing in fights more, and they delivered that here with both Ben and it's kind of like the way I've always sort of pictured like people fluent within the Force would fight, not just with sabers, but also kind of incorporating like being able to kind of use their mind to lift rocks, right? So it was cool the way they did that, and I mean. Obi-Wan even T-posed on him for power, right? And threw a bunch of rocks at him.
That shot was so dope. Like him would just sitting there with the saber and all the rocks. Come on.
They go like full-blown anime with it, where it's just like a shit ton of rocks behind him. I'm like, damn, dude, and you're really gonna just pelt him with all these?
Badass.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
Fucking badass, and I love that. And I feel like we also got to shout out, again, just more really really excellent writing and parallels to where like Vader shows up and he's like, "Are you here to destroy me, Obi-Wan?" And he's like, and of course, the Revenge of the Sith line where he says, "I'll do what I must." And then Vader responds with, "Then you will die," which is the same thing that he says to Ahsoka in Rebels when she's like, "I won't leave you again," and he responds with, "Then you will die." I was like, that's just fucking just A tier, just that's the good shit right there. That's the good shit.
Some more of that is like Obi-Wan, since he knows, he saw Anakin basically, he left him on Mustafar like that. He knows like he has that like respirator and all that, so he knows like Vader's like weak points essentially.
Yeah, he's gone after his mechanical stuff.
Yeah, the way that he like hit him with the butt of his lightsaber against the control panel on the front was really cool. That was really really sweet. I don't think we've seen something like that before. And I mean, just eventually he lunges forward, slaps Vader in the face, and there we see the face of Hayden Christensen underneath the helmet, the red eyes of Darth Vader, staring back at him, and just Ewan McGregor came to fucking act in this scene, bro. Like his face when he sees him, the tears coming up, and he's like, oh my god, Anakin. And then I think what might be one of my favorite lines ever said in Star Wars, when after Ben looks him in the face and he says, like, "I'm sorry, Anakin. Like I failed you. I could have prevented this." And Vader's like, "You didn't kill Anakin. I did."
Oh yeah.
And just the look on Hayden Christensen's face was unreal. He acted his ass off in that scene.
Oh yeah, that matched with the lighting of the red saber, like starting to like overtake the frame. Like
that's what I was gonna. Very
you
similar
see the
to
blue
like Force
and
Awakens.
then
fades away, then you see the red. Like the use of the blue like coloring versus the red coloring in that conversation.
I'll never get tired of that. And yeah, you like Josh, you just mentioned like really similar to the conversation between Han Solo and Kylo Ren. Like just I'll never get sick of the blue and red lighting in Star Wars, especially when they use it like that. Just surreal, man. Also heart wrenching. That scene hit me in the gut, dude. Like it tore my heart out.
Yeah, because they did like a pretty similar scene in Rebels, but I think seeing it in live action made it just much more powerful and different enough to not like, and probably a lot of people haven't even seen Rebels anyways. So,
Right.
yeah, it just was so powerful.
And I think there's also just something between like we're seeing Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor like in particular and just the way that they just acted their fucking ass off in the way they portrayed that it was so emotional and what an incredible point to where I love that. I think going into this I was wondering, I was like, how the hell do we have another duel with Vader and Obi-Wan and neither of them die? But I love like the realization after Obi-Wan leaves that it was like he was there to kill Anakin Skywalker and then realizes he's dead. Like I love that we got and it's like I don't love that he just kind of walks away. I kind of wish he'd had like they'd framed it to where he has the sensing that Luke's in trouble like right there and he jets.
Yeah.
But I do love that they at least delivered the thing that I was nervous about going in on the show, to where I was like, we have to justify why Ben feels the way he does in the original trilogy, specifically Return of the Jedi, when he tells Luke repeatedly, is like, if you don't kill him, we lose. Like, it's like you have to confront and kill Vader.
Yeah, I think there should have been like a Force Awakens like divide between the two characters, because there was a little tonal like inconsistency in terms of at the beginning Obi-Wan's like, I have to kill, like I'm gonna die or he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll do what I must, and then he's like, all right, see you later. He just walks away. Because I was like, you know how evil this dude is. Like, take him out, man.
Yeah.
But obviously he's past the movies or the show. So.
That was my second layup moment where I'm like, all right, Liam Neeson, you got that bag, right? Like, Force Qui-Gon's gonna talk him down from killing Anakin. Didn't show up, and I was like, you know what? Maybe he's just not in this episode. Maybe this show's a failure. I had to wait 20 more minutes, man.
20 more minutes. I do think I felt a little better on it when I saw somebody on the internet kind of say that it was cool that in it, just again to kind of parallel like Ahsoka confronting Vader, right? Like she went there for revenge. But Obi-Wan went to apologize essentially to try and redeem Vader, like through like his own redemption, be like, I'm sorry that this happened, that I did this to you. And I think it was just like the realization that his friend is gone is why he leaves. He's like, I was here to kill Anakin. Not, again, it's weird that he just walks off. I wish that there was at least something.
Because you even tie it to Return of the Jedi, where Obi-Wan's like, Luke, you have to kill him. You can't talk him down. But then he like kind of just walks away in this fight. That was like a little like, that's why I wish there would have been like
something,
if they, the planet fractures or something. It kind of, the planet kind of reminded me of Malachor 5 from.
I did get that vibe.
Republic. It looked like with all the jaggedy rocks and everything. It looked very cool.
I didn't catch the name. They did say the name of it. I didn't catch it in time to write it down, and I didn't want to scroll through the episode again because the Disney Plus player on PlayStation is. It was a cool planet though. It looked neat. I liked it.
Yeah,
it was much more visually striking than a lot of gravel like in episode 3.
Yeah.
So, which I know wasn't the point, but I was happy that at least it looked cool.
Yeah.
I do love that we started to get some classic Star Wars music themes back in this episode too, and a lot of people kind of been dunking on the soundtrack. I actually really enjoyed the soundtrack for what it was, and I like that, like these classic things were kind of payoffs in a lot of ways, to where at the end when Ben is saying goodbye to Leia, we get this cool rendition of Leia's theme when he's talking about the scene that did make me cry, when he's telling Leia about the qualities that she has from her parents. And I was just sitting there, I was like, oh boy, y'all really came for the heart this episode, man, you fuckers.
Oh yeah. But then that theme of like found family that like Star Wars typically has, where she's like, she's okay with it though, like she tells her all this, but then she looks back at Bail Organa and her mom, like her adopted family, and she's like, you know what, like I also see those qualities not only from what you're telling me, but like within within the family I've already been set up with. And I like that because of that, like she's a lot more like well behaved and like listening to her mom, even though she's strapped with a holster, which I thought was goddamn like hilarious.
I also love that she put Lola in it. That was incredible. Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, speaking of Lola, that just reminded me because I was watching with captions on, and there was one point towards the beginning of the episode where it just said "nervous beeps" under Lola, and it just reminded me of happy beeps.
Happy beeps, baby. Happy beeps. Yeah, I love that she has the holster. That's cool. I love that she also kept the gloves that we see Ben buy for her in episode 2. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
As they've always done with Leia's outfits throughout the show as well, a lot of them kind of parallel like other outfits that Leia wears in the original trilogy. And this one though, outside of like the gloves, she looked a lot like Luke in A New Hope, which I thought was really cool with the boots, but also like Obi-Wan a bit too, which very cool. Love that. Just
100%.
excellent visual storytelling, and good job on you guys for that. I do kind of love that sort of parallel again between Luke and Leia though too, to where she learns these things out about like her parents, at least like the qualities that her parents had, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you more, and she goes, that's okay. You know, it's like she has her family. This is her family now, and that's really great. But I also love that as we learn in A New Hope later, like Luke wants to know who his father is. He wants to know more about where he came from and get all these things. And so I like that sort of like opposites thing going on with them. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, to go off of that, I thought Owen was awesome in this episode. I
Agreed.
think it
Mhm.
gave so much more perspective to, because like in episode 4, he's like shitting on Luke and poo-pooing on his party and everything like that. But you really see in this episode like that he really cares for Luke and he's being protective for a reason.
Yeah.
And Beru's a badass.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
rifle.
Bruce
Although-
looking strapped, man. I loved it.
Although one thing too is like they're like or Owen was like we need to like to either run away or get help, and Veru's like nah, and I was like dude, we need like so many people to help us. Like come on, it's a friggin' Inquisitor, dude. You
I
need
know,
like
right?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
why
Somehow.
that's why it's awesome. It's like, come on. She's like,
I
nah,
know
we
they
got
got
this.
they got this fucking like sawed off Tuscan sniper rifle,
Literally.
dude. I was like,
Literally.
fuck yeah, man, let's go.
It was like a Home Alone ass style of like
Right?
setup, or like someone's coming. It's the home invasion of Reva, and yeah, they're just like cocking guns and like throwing shit at her, and he's like just using one of the random pipes to just like kind of like fight back, and she's just tossing them and smacking them around, and then
You got some good shots
yeah.
out of that though.
100%.
Yeah, I love that too. I love also that they show like how wounded she still is, and Owen uses that to his advantage, and all of that was really great. I can't help but think that they probably had to take at least some of the stormtroopers down with them in A New Hope, right? Like like there's no way they just went out after a show like
yeah.
that, bro. No wonder they just fucking fry them to a crisp. They're like, fuck you guys, man.
Right?
Yeah.
one question I have, because I'm curious.
Mhm.
So we heard Reva hear the message in the little communicator at the end of the last episode, but like, because it seemed like it was insinuated that she knew that Luke was the son of Anakin. That's why she was so hell bent on hunting him down.
So
But
I actually have an answer for you. And before I watched the finale, I actually went back. I watched the first episode while I was eating lunch today. I meant to try and watch all 5 of them, and I got halfway to episode 2, and then I had to do shit. So, but in the first episode, there's the bit where at the very beginning, the Inquisitors are on Tatooine. They're looking for the other Jedi who they string up and hang in the fucking town square. But there's a point where Reva's trying to get information out of the crowd, and she singles out Owen. And he's like, "What, you gotta?" He's the first thing she says when she sees him, and I think it's probably like something that she gets from the Force, where she's like, "You know something." Like it's like there's something about you, and he's like, "No." And she's like, "What, you got a family or something?" And it's not until the 5th brother like interjects that she stops harassing them. So I think after learning that Obi-Wan's on Tatooine, and she learns the name of Owen, which is why she shows up on Tatooine. She's like, I'm looking for a guy named Owen. I think she kind of put 2 and 2 together. It was like, why else would he be there unless like this dude that I confronted earlier, who clearly knows something about a Jedi on Tatooine, and so there's a correlation there. And so I think she just kind of went to threaten his family to draw Obi-Wan out again, and technically it worked.
But I'm in the same boat as Brett though. But does she know that that's Anakin's
I don't think
kid,
so.
and
And
that's why she's
I don't
very
think
hell
so.
bent on him?
and
I
even
don't think
then,
so.
if
I think she know. I think she again just kind of pieces together that he's there to protect somebody, and somehow it's related to this Owen dude. Like through the connections that we see in the first episode. It's I'm not gonna act like it's not a little thin, but whatever.
Yeah,
I
'Cause,
think that's where it comes from.
to me, it'd make more sense if she knew that that was like Anakin's kid, and that's why she's so hell bent. But then,
Right.
she has the flashbacks, and she sees like the circle of violence, and that she's literally just striking down this youngling the same way Anakin did to her and all her homies. Yeah,
Great
it should
scene.
have been driven more. Yeah,
Great scene. You want to talk
absolutely
about people who
fantastic.
acted their ass off? Like that bit was incredible, and then the point where she brings Luke back and is talking to Obi-Wan, I
Yep.
thought was amazing. Like that was
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
100%.
Yeah,
Right
I
her
do think like her
storyline.
reason for going after Luke is a little thin. I think she's just kind of going after Luke because we know who he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, I'll take it. Whatever. It's one of those things where I'm like, it's a stretch, but I'll whatever.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually agree. I think I'm with you. I'd almost prefer that she knows that that's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I don't think at any point she ever hears his name.
Because
Yeah.
at that point, like she'd worked with like Obi-Wan to get Vader in a weak position, but
Mhm.
Other than that, Obi-Wan like totally holds up his side, and
Yeah.
is she has no reason to be mad at him because she technically got what she wanted, which was a face off against Vader, like one-on-one. She just got her ass whooped because it's
Yeah.
Vader naturally.
Yeah.
So I feel like she'd be more hell bent on Vader still and less like Obi-Wan, and that's why it makes so much more sense that she's like aggressively after this one
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. I think a way to kind of like strike out at Vader is by learning that he has a child and
Yeah.
they're going to use that against him. But
Mhm.
maybe
Come
there
on,
is a season
100%.
2 and we'll get to see more of Reva though, because I actually really liked her character a lot.
Yeah, that or a show with just give me her and O'Shea Jackson Jr. and just the path.
The
show,
path.
Yeah, dude.
The
Yeah,
path, yeah.
a path show would be rad because that would be a good
I
excuse
think
to sprinkle in a little bit of Obi-Wan and Vader here and there because I know like pretty much everyone in the show has said that they want to come back and replay their characters some more.
which that's why I
But I
think
don't
we
know that I
get
want
instead of
another
this.
Obi-Wan show.
See, that's where I'm at. I don't think I want to see. I think I'm fine with this being Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think the path. I think that'll be kind of like a successor to this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
yeah. I want a 6-episode season of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon just chilling, man. That's what I
But we
want.
know that's
Absolutely,
basically
dude.
what they did for those 10 years in between. What we see, basically him
that's
walk-
basically the rest of this, right?
Obi-Wan's like
Palpatine
shooting
and
up.
Qui-Gon.
Obi-Wan's like shooting up like space lizards, Boba Fett style, and he's just hanging out with Qui-Gon, and he's like, "What?" My man said, "Like, be real with me. Like, did you know the boy could win the pod race, man?" And he's just like, they're stoned out of their mind on like space.
Why didn't you
lizards.
take his mom with you, man?
Yeah, man.
That's fucked up, dude. If you had just taken his
Breed so
mom,
much
he wouldn't
more.
have become Vader, bro.
Bro, this was, how avoidable all this was, man. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I will say that I couldn't find it online, but that quote that Qui-Gon had was really good about basically
here the
him
whole
being.
time.
I've
I've been here the whole time.
just-
You just couldn't see. Yeah,
yeah,
I really like that. I also love how little Liam Neeson tried to hide his Irish accent in this one. It was very funny.
Yeah.
It was very funny how Irish Qui-Gon Jinn is in the
Yep.
the few lines that he has.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of being a Force ghost. Like, you just have to become more Irish. Like,
Yeah,
apparently.
absolutely. Yeah, he showed up, put on the costume, and fucking bounced out of there. I feel like.
But he got that motherfucking bag, and I was so
good.
here
He was
for
like,
it,
yeah,
man."
whatever. I'll take $500,000 to come say 2 lines in a Star Wars show. Sure.
Literally.
I don't know how much we got paid. Whatever. I just throw the
Right.
number out there.
Yeah,
To circle
man.
back to some of the music motifs coming back. Of course, we got like Leia's theme during that scene. I also wanted to shout out that during when the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan starts, we get an arrangement of Ben Kenobi's theme from the show, but with like these big like choral pieces and like a huge choir within it. That's very clearly reminiscent of the Battle of the Heroes from Revenge of the Sith, which I thought was a really, really cool touch, a cool way to sort of update that, but keep like the main thematic there. And then of course you get the Force theme towards the end of it with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon walking out into the desert. And then I think my favorite one, back on Mustafar, we see Vader speaking with the Emperor, who is basically like, dude, chill, like enough of this.
Well, I really like that scene because it ties along with the battle on whatever the planet was of, and they brought this up in different Star Wars stories of like the dark side, like wants to isolate you from like connection,
Mhm.
and so even though Vader hates Obi-Wan, there's still that connection there, good or bad. But Vader or Palpatine kind of calls him out on it, and you can even tell it within the mask, like he's like, yeah, I need to like let that part of my life like go. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta move on.
And I also just kind of love too. It shows like how subservient Vader is to the Emperor as well, and just kind of another way to show like how twisted and different that he is now. That he's not the same person anymore. And then of course we get the Imperial March right there at the end of it. Fucking incredible, slowed down to sound all epic and stuff. I was like, just straight into my veins. And then shout out Ian McDiarmid too, showing back up to do the role of the Emperor for a second. I could watch him as the Emperor forever. He's so good. He just chews every single scene he's in, and I love that.
Oh yeah.
But also, and this is something that Alec and I actually spoke about off camera as well. What a cool way to sort of end the show with this neat parallel of our two kind of like main characters of Vader and Obi-Wan like meeting with their masters again, and that sort of being like the last time that we see the both of them. I thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I liked that episode a lot, man. I think I sit at the end of this and I know we'll do more of a discussion on the series as One Piece next week. Be here for that. But I do think at the end of it, I was like, that might be one of my favorite all-time Star Wars projects. Like I really, really loved just about every bit of this show. I don't know if you guys feel the same way or not,
yeah.
but like give me like two, 3 cents general impressions, like just overall show. Alec, it sounded like you were going first. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, like, I was saying, back on what was it, episode 4, I said that was one of my favorite live action Star Wars episodes.
You said it was
6.
You said it was the best. You dropped the bomb, Alec.
I
That was
did.
the Fortress Inquisitorius one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The one I wasn't here for, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, this show went beyond my expectations. I loved it. There's some spots that kind of slowed down for me a little bit in some spots, but honestly, looking at it as a whole, it was awesome. It was all I had ever dreamed of.
Brett, what about you, man?
Yeah.
Or Josh, go ahead. Take it away.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like up there for me for sure in terms of like not only like Disney Star Wars and the shows, but also just Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that's like kind of tied or on par with it would be Mando season 2. But yeah, I loved everything we got here, and like very early on, I've been like, I hope this stays a limited series, and like literally just as you were saying, like the parallels between the two main characters and the two masters, I'm like, god damn, what a ending for a limited series. But like the way they leave it, I'd be fine if they brought this back for season 2. Now that Obi-Wan's like, I don't have to train the boy, like I can go out and do missions. Like I'm like, you know what, I'd be fine for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, great overall.
Brett?
Yeah, I would say it was good. It wasn't like massively transformative, but I think at the end of the day they achieved what they wanted to do, and I definitely look upon it favorably. I think for the most part they satisfied like what I wanted out of this show. I still would probably hold the Mando stuff higher than this, which to me is a little bit of a disappointment, but at the end of the day, like I would recommend this show to anybody, and I liked a lot of
Especially prequel fans.
Yeah, and I think they nailed like the core characters that they needed to with Obi-Wan and Vader. So that's a huge success for me.
Yeah, man. I don't know that I'm at this weird point where it's like I kind of want it to stay what it is, but like I could watch Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan Kenobi forever. You know what I mean?
Right,
I
dude?
think if they're gonna
Yep.
do a season 2, I really hope that they keep Vader out of it. And I know that kind of sucks to say because I also love seeing Hayden Christensen playing Vader in particular. Which, by the way, I believe, unfortunately, I can't. I lost my source for it, so take this with a bit of a grain of salt. But I do believe that Hayden Christensen was actually in the suit during the final duel this time around, rather than a stunt person. So I can't verify that. That was something I think I just kind of heard on Reddit, and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. But I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Drop a comment if I'm wrong. But I mean, it's cool to have him there all the same. But yeah, I think if they were to do season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I hope that he's just kind of off doing other stuff and less to do with him and Vader. Maybe him and Reva again would be interesting.
Yeah, what do you think? Like, where does she go from here? Because I thought she was gonna die just because like she was an Inquisitor, and they don't make it past a certain point, and then I was like, if they redeem her, like that's just another like loose end out in the galaxy for the Empire and just a Force user running around during this like dark period.
So I'm not sure where she would go. I think it ends in a way that they could take her in a lot of different directions, which is why I'm kind of feeling like I feel like it might go for a season 2. I know Kathleen Kennedy even kind of like said something online today where she's like, yeah, like I'd be down to do more if people want it. And people are gonna want it. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
Yeah.
I do know though that when I was every time I finished an episode, I hit up r/Star Wars Leaks to go into their discussion thread, because that's usually one of the more nuanced places you can get like decent Star Wars discussion is hard to find these days.
That's why you come here.
r/Star Wars Leaks is actually like surprisingly a good place for it. And so they always have a discussion thread every episode, and so I went in there and I saw that a while back, after I jumped ship from that subreddit for a little while, there was a leak that went out that showed that in an earlier version of the script, Reva like successfully kidnaps Luke. Obi-Wan goes back. Apparently, like they had a lightsaber duel, which I guess a lot of people in the thread were saying was like, don't love the idea of Luke seeing a lightsaber before A New Hope. And I'm glad that he was unconscious through that. I'd actually really liked. I was like, okay, good. Like that, it felt like they handled that in a way that doesn't affect his character in A New Hope, which good on them. Also, shout out to that kid. He was a convincing young Luke Skywalker for the
He did what he
little
could.
time that we got to see him, and he looks just like Anakin. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But after that, apparently, originally she was going to return to Vader, and then Vader would kill her. For like again failing to get Obi-Wan or whatever, and there was a lot of criticism for that too, where it's like, wow, so it really is just Fallen Order again. So I'm actually glad that they left her alive. I don't know where they take her, but I'd be interested in finding out. I can even see like maybe if she doesn't show up in a live action property, I can see her like become like a comic, like getting some kind of series again, like you guys said, based off the path. I think would be really cool.
100%, yeah. That's kind of where I hope she goes, because like going to kill a kid and then knocking the kid unconscious and then bringing the kid back is not really redemption. Like we haven't seen that arc, so like I feel like there's a lot of potential with that character in terms of redemption. And yeah, bring back O'Shea Jackson Jr., Kumail, and Reva.
Please bring back Commando Haja, dude.
I'm there, dude. I'm like sold, man. That's all
Absolutely.
I need.
Yeah,
It's your star cast right there. Boom.
To see her involved with the path, especially like as a former Inquisitor, like she's gonna know how they work, right? And it'd be cool to see her like fight and confront like the other Inquisitors who gave her so much shit too. I think that would be really, really interesting. And then maybe we still have a point where Vader himself steps in and is like, all right, no more of you. Like I think that would be
She'll stab the Grand Inquisitor again.
One more time.
In which he was kind of done a little dirty this episode, in which he's like, "Yo, you can't be going after
like,
this one.
Don't do
You're
that.
You're a Jedi." And then
bro,
he literally they change course for all of 2 minutes, and then Vader's like, "I'm gonna go on my personal ship," and you can just see the look in the Grand Inquisitor's face, like,
Oh yeah.
Bro, you couldn't have done this 5 minutes ago, man. You couldn't have done this 5 minutes ago, so we could get the rest
His
of the path.
face is just like, you had a ship this whole time.
No, literally.
I gotta be honest, like the Grand Inquisitor in the show wasn't bad. It just was
there.
weird.
He's
for
no
me.
rebels. You can't.
No
Yeah,
rebels.
the rebels is Grand Inquisitor's story for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was there almost. It felt like really him and the other Inquisitors were just kind of set dressing more than
I want to
anything
know
else.
more about what the fourth sister.
Mhm.
Because
I don't think we've seen her in anything else before.
His fifth brother was just like
Annoying
and complaining.
He's pretty dope. Come on, I liked him quite a bit.
He's in Rebels though, too.
I think he's better.
Yeah.
I think he's better in Rebels as well. But the fourth sister, she was intriguing, and like the one scene we got of her in episode 4, she was actually like efficient and competent. So I was like, "Ooh, I want to know more about her."
Maybe she shows up in Jedi Survivor.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean? We need. I feel like it's going to be hard to continue being a Jedi and not seeing more Inquisitors in that
Right.
series.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. That'd be very interesting. But I think that just about wraps it up for today. We're coming right up on time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of this show and being on the panel. I know we appreciate it. This is my favorite show that we make. Because I love getting together with my friends and talking about Star Wars. And this was an excellent series to be able to talk to you guys with as well. I mean, that was some chef kiss grade A Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I believe
in August.
Andor in August. So in 2 months, the show is going to be right back, baby. More This Is the Waypoint, and even longer. I believe there are 12 episodes of Andor. So you all got plenty of just excellent, just awesome Star Wars. Because Andor is going to be a great show. Don't listen to what Josh says.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
I have
I'm only
high
watching
hope.
it for K2SO, and that's the only thing I'm watching
Spies and
for,
Star
man.
Wars. What's better than that?
It's also going to be the first Star Wars Disney Plus series that is not filmed on the volume, which I'm really interested in.
I'm kind of excited.
It's actually on location and
I'm kind of
in
excited.
sets. So
Okay.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked on it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And we got one more episode dealing with Kenobi. So come back next week when we're going to be doing our Obi-Wan Kenobi series review round table. We're going to get a bunch of people up in here. We're all going to talk about our favorite parts of the shows, things we liked, things we didn't, and it's just going to be a good old time. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you at the next Waypoint. Now get out. Go away.